Eugenie Sage.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Pleased to take a short call on the Geographical Indications Wine and Spirits Registration Amendment Bill. I don't often agree with Mr Barclay, but I do endorse the comments he made then about Stuart Smith's expertise and in relation to wine, and also the huge impact that the earthquakes have had on the wine industry. And yes, this will certainly be furthest from their minds at the moment, but we hope, of course, that they will be in a position to enjoy the improvement in the ability to market that this bill will bring with the next season's vintage, and be able to save some of this season's, though I gather there's been quite extensive loss of the vintage. Mr Speaker, others have commented on the value of wine exports, 1.5 billion annually and forecast to reach 2 billion by 2020. The Green Party, of course, is supporting the bill in recognition of the importance of the industry, but also because of the basic principle of provenance, of terroir, of consumers wanting to know where their food comes from, and the fact that where it is grown can significantly influence the taste and the quality of what is produced. So, as others have said, this bill shouldn't be applying just to wine and spirits. The government should have a much larger vision, given the importance of food in our exports to our economy, in applying this concept of provenance to food products as well as to wine. We've seen strong support from the industry and submissions on the bill. I wasn't on the select committee, but Villa Maria Estates, for example, said that years of investment in branding could be undermined if non-New Zealand producers sought to copy our wine, to blend wine produced offshore with New Zealand wine and then market it as New Zealand wine. And of course that will lead to a loss of reputation as poorer quality wine is marketed as New Zealand wine. And so this bill is about preventing that from happening by enabling the registration of geographic areas such as Marlborough for Sauvignon Blanc, and requiring that 100% of the grapes must be grown in New Zealand if the wine is to be called New Zealand wine, and the wine is to be associated with a particular region, that the grapes must be grown there. And the industry has wanted this formalisation of the ability to protect wine regions' names and boundaries for some time. As my colleague Barry Coates noted, this is common in Europe. And it is an unparalleled opportunity to be able to tell our stories about where wine is grown and how it is produced. And it is really unfortunate that the government hasn't looked at doing this with food, both in relation to country of origin labelling, which it has resolutely opposed, despite Australia introducing legislation to establish it this year, and that legislation coming into force in 2 years' time, and despite the ease with which the industry could pick up a lot of the standards because of the commonality of produce across the two countries and markets. We need to extend it to food so that we can get a premium in international markets for the food that we produce. And you only have to look at the coastal spring lamb story, where Rangatiki lamb won the Supreme Award at the Massey Food Awards recently, and that business has gone from just a single farming operation to a multi-million-dollar company in 6 years, with 12 farmer suppliers producing for the domestic market and another 8 for export. And they have done that because they have told the story of the coastal spring lamb, of the pastures that you get sea spray, so that affects the taste of the lamb, the young age of the lamb when it's killed. And it's a whole story around that about provenance that consumers want to hear, because they want to know that meat they are eating is free range. They want to know the farming systems that have produced it. They want the association with farmer owners and the stories that those people can tell about growing food on their land. So this is a lost opportunity, Mr Speaker, that we are not applying this bill to food products and establishing a similar registration for horticultural produce, for meat products, that we are establishing for wine and spirits. And we hope that we get into government next year, and as Damien O'Connor noted, that the Labour Green government would be introducing legislation to extend the system of provenance and registration to food. And can I just comment on New Zealand first? It is outrageous that...
Order. The member's time has expired somewhat. Stuart Nash.